So shall we start? It's actually a development describing the play of the force of nature, of evolution. For a long time, it is a force that is moving in the field of ignorance, in the field of inertia, in conscience. So that movement is erratic sometimes, working its way up from the lowest level, from the subconscious, gradually. So freely he has allowed her this free to move in the. So we have energy that is moving in the field of so much ignorance, so much inconscience, and he is present, of course, because she is his force, but he is holding himself back, allowing her to take charge. So you have a development mainly for a long time on the physical, on the material form. There is not so much a play of, you might say, aspiration or consciousness, emotion, like in the material form, the movement of the stars or the planets. That is there. Gradually from there, the life energy emerges. The life energy is movement. There is a kind of a push, a drive. The drive is not constantly directed towards the light, not necessarily. Pulls us this way and that. He allows it. He's all the time he's behind, holding her, but she wants to as if experiment. So he is whatever, on page 65, he is whatever her artist will can make. She does all kinds of experiments, making shapes and forms, moving this way and that way. Although she drives him on her fancy's roads, at play with him as with her child or slave, to freedom and the eternal's mastery and immortality stand above the world, she moves, her seeming puppet of an hour. Slowly it is towards that ultimate goal. Gradually the lower ordinary vital force becomes the higher vital, the vital energy that moves towards love, light, beauty, power. Not power simply for the sake of power, but for the sake of dominating the darker forces. All these, the eternal's mastery. Gradually, this is a part of our nature. The thing is that we have all the earlier parts also. We have the lower nature, we have the vital, lower vital nature, we have the higher vital nature. As if he is following her in her ascension. She's ascending. And it's a play. He has harnessed her to the yoke of her own law. I think we did up to there. Okay, we go back one sentence, it'll be easier. Even in his mortal session in body's house, an aimless traveler between birth and death, he is the spirit, the consciousness, the soul, seems to just come on in a body and then leave aimlessly. You come and we are born, we have a spirit, we have a soul, and then the body is given up by the soul withdraws. Seems like an aimless journey for a very long time, ephemeral, dreaming of immortality. This is the difference. Because the presence of the eternal is with us, always within us, in man, there is a dream of immortality, which he does not know, which he has never experienced. But there is a love for the eternal, for the immortal, without knowing this is what we want. Gradually it is this slow movement towards more light, more truth, and more immortality that the evolution of consciousness grows. To reign, she spurs him. She, because she is the force, she is the energy, she is making him grow or come into the open. He is standing in the background. Gradually, that is the whole, it's a journey of consciousness, and the consciousness becomes more and more obvious, more and more manifests all its powers, its potentialities. He takes up her powers. So, with the help of the spirit, we have all the physical, vital, mental, spiritual activities that can become expressions of consciousness. The body, for instance, moves. It's a physical force. We can make the body move consciously. We can really instill consciousness in our vital nature. Slowly, he takes up her powers. Every aspect of existence can become an expression of consciousness. But for a long time, it's just an expression of the natural Shakti, the energy that is at work. The energy becomes an expression of consciousness progressively.
I have a question. I understand the self or the difference between the self and the soul. But I have difficulty, I didn't read enough probably, but I have difficulty understanding the difference between the spirit and the soul.
No, the soul is an individualization of the spirit.
But it almost seems like we have a spirit, but the spirit
We are part of the universal spirit. The soul is yours.
Yes.
It's an expression of the spirit in you, the individual.
And
Yes.
sometimes it refers to our spirit, but it's not our spirit, it's always the
It's
spirit.
also our spirit.
But not individualized.
Yeah, it's an individualization of the spirit. It's the same
But
actually.
It's not like, for example, you can conceive the soul as being an independent entity.
It is a
But you
true.
cannot conceive your spirit as being an independent.
You don't have to, because it's not your spirit. It is the spirit that is at work in all things. That spirit becomes you in the form of your soul.
Yeah,
It's an individualized expression of the spirit.
Yeah.
It's the true
some
person.
kind of a form. The spirit takes some kind of a form by going through you.
It is.
But it's not that we have a separate entity
No,
that is like the soul.
it's not separate. It cannot be. Nothing is actually separate. So you are one expression of the divine in manifestation, and that is a permanent reality that is always there. In the mortal, the presence of the immortal is there. That presence is very often not known, not understood. But because it is there, there is an entity.
Yeah.
Your external entity exists because it holds it together. It's the central factor of your being. It stays in the background. It doesn't guide. The soul doesn't tell you what to do. The soul does not guide. The soul is just there like a light in the darkness. But if you want a guidance or a help, which we need so often, that is when you try to connect your consciousness with the divine via your psychic being. You discover the presence of the psychic. The psychic is the guide. It will lead us forward. The soul is a completely quiet witness. It is the eternal and it is always there.
And
It knows the beginning, it knows the end of the journey also, because it contains the whole. So the soul is the beginning, it is the middle, it is the end of the journey. The psychic leads us on our journey. If you realize that life is a journey, and it's a journey of consciousness, and who is going to take us forward? Very often we think mind will tell us. We ask the mind and reason to tell us what to do, and it gives us guidance according to its ability, which is, it has a very high opinion of itself, maybe, but it doesn't know much because it only sees a little bit of the truth. It is an instrument of light, but it cuts things into little fragments and says, this is light, that is darkness, this is right, that is wrong. There is no such thing as darkness in itself. darkness is also a manifestation of hidden light. Light is there for a purpose. The divine has created darkness, it is created in conscience. Unconsciousness, in the word unconsciousness, consciousness is hidden. It is present. In man, the mortal, the eternal is present. It is, we are God in the making. But how do we become that? We are creatures in the process of development. Now, a piece of sculpture which is in the process of being developed is not a finished product. So sometimes it's half-baked and it breaks up very easily. But if we allow ourselves to be molded, and life, the energy of nature and of the mother molds, shapes, builds, often with blows, with shocks. Like the potter has to put his pot in the fire before it becomes strong. Also the forger, the smith puts it in the forge and metal becomes hard. So we have to pass through fire also. That is part of the plan. It's not just something that is why when we feel, Mother, please help me, Mother, please protect me, we don't realize that she's helping us very much when she doesn't seem to help us. She's giving us an opportunity to really connect strongly with the truth and open, but we don't see, we only want a comfortable journey. There's no first-class journey there.
That is the first-class journey. That's first class. Pulled through a knothole.
It's a travel. And those who have the ability, those who have the potential, in whom the consciousness has evolved sufficiently, they are the ones who have to face the greater blows. They're ready for this. It's all something in proportion to your aspiration, but also in your proportion to your receptivity. How much can you take and how much can you do? So if you want an easy life, then you might as well just lie back and not evolve.
It's so funny because I have a alchemist picture. It shows a traveler and he's sitting by a rock all asleep. And it shows all of the planetary gods' muscles with sledgehammers. And they're going to wake him up. And it's like a 1500s.
We need lots of hammering.
Oh, yeah. And then the one guy's got a third eye and he's like, "Ugh," and the guy's like, "Ugh." He doesn't know what it's about to hit him.
So he takes up her powers. He has harnessed her to the yoke of her own law. Gradually the consciousness takes charge of the development of the nature. Her law is to develop nature. Consciousness develops our nature. Consciousness makes us pass through all kinds of experiences. You pass through an experience, you are conscious that this is why I had this experience. This is why I had to go through these things. When I have to go through pain, I realize, oh, this is what was perhaps expected of me. Because perhaps I was ready for it. It makes me advance faster, though outwardly it makes me fall back. It's very complex. It's not a smooth sail. That is why, held in her slowly, his face of human thought puts on a crown. This is man's spirit. For a long time his mind is his guide. But you have to go beyond the mind. You have to go beyond the mind when when things seem to go bad, they are actually going very well. When life is difficult, then you know that the blessings that are being showered on you are Really, it's like a rain of blessings. That's why Mother has said, my blessings are dangerous. Sometimes they're dangerous. You just call for Mother's blessings. Blessings are dangerous. Dangerous not in the sense, but you have to be able to bear the pressure of that presence. Otherwise, we break down. Then you put on a crown, you go beyond the mind. You become king of your life, not a slave. Held in her leash, bound to her veil caprice, he studies her ways. Held in, who is held in her leash? He, the spirit. She is holding him back, she is controlling him. Held in her leash, bound to her veiled caprice, because she makes us go through all kinds of things we can't understand what the reason is for them. Why did I have to pass through this? Today I am not so young anymore. I look back and realize how many idiotic, stupid things I've done in my life. What I have. Why did I have to go through all that nonsense? Today, how much? What have I learned? What have I got? I've done this. I've wasted my time in a long way. So that also is a lesson. Doing a great deal of nothing at all. He studies her ways, if so, he may prevail even for an hour, and she work out his will. He studies, the consciousness makes use of everything that nature and energy and the universal forces make us go through. This is the Mother's power, and he understands. Out of that, if we can grow, we can use every experience in order to grow. He can prevail even for an hour, even slightly. Small things or big things, it doesn't matter what. And she work out his will. That is actually the purpose of our life. Our external life, our body, mind, and vital can become an expression, an instrument of his will. But we have not to stop doing any action. This is not easy. This is really, he's giving us the essence of Sri Aurobindo's yoga. This is very difficult. That is why in the olden days they said, don't do anything, just withdraw. Sit quietly, concentrate on realizing your soul. Because the other parts are so very disparate. Each one has his own nature, pulls you this way, pulls you that way. The physical has its laws, the vital has its nature. So come out of all those things. No, they have not been made just so that we can give up all that. We have to make every part of our being an instrument of his will. And it's far more difficult. So our physical activities or our vital activities or our mental activities. So always Mother gives us so many guidances. If you have to work in the world of life, it is really harmony, beauty in the physical, in the mind. It is light. All these things are opportunities that we have to develop, these characteristics, capacities as we grow. We have not to stop working, we have not to stop using our vital capacity. But they are not instruments of the ego. The vital likes personal satisfaction. It is not the ego, it is his will. I am an instrument of his will. In my body, in my life, in my mind, it is his will that is up. Because he makes of her his moment passion serf. He makes her his serf, his servant. For a while, to obey she feigns, but she's hard to control. She suddenly breaks out. Lives only for his use. But conquering her, then is he most her slave. This is the interplay, because the universal force is also his force. Universal nature is the field of all our experience. Manifestation is the creation which is made by him, but she is working it out. She is at play. All the possibilities, they are like entwined. That is why he says elsewhere, the two who are one. He and she are one. They play in many worlds. But conquering her, then is he most her slave. When you have mastered the forces of nature, then is he most her slave.
Because he's more in love that, oh, I conquered her. And
He's actually, it's not a question of love, really.
I don't need to.
It is, he becomes an instrument of her force. Is completely an instrument of her force. Man can become an total instrument of the mother's force. It is through man only this can be done. Mother has repeatedly said, this man can do nothing. No other creature can grow, can evolve, can change, can make use of all the possibilities that are latent in nature, in body, mind, life, subconscious, unconscious, all these paths, and lead us to the superconscious. Only man.
Female and men together.
It doesn't matter. Man, human being. Not really. Supposing you plant a tree, it's a very beautiful thing. It will grow into a beautiful tree if you look after it well. But it will be a tree. It won't become a human being, it won't become an animal, it doesn't dream of becoming a tiger or a lion, it doesn't want to alter its existence. It's not that dynamic kind of life force. It's a life force that grows. It grows towards the light. All the time it grows towards the sun. There is only in one direction. There is not that complexity in their nature. The tree doesn't grow in many in man the complexity is there. He's moving in many directions at the same time. So for a long time you may feel he's not moving at all. He's pulled this way and that. A tree is not pulled this way and that. It's pulled upwards. Though his downward pull is there, the roots go deep into the earth, go deep into the darkness, therefore the tree doesn't fly. It doesn't touch the sun, though it wants the sun. But it's only in one direction. It's not a change. Trees can't change. Animals don't change. They become beautiful, noble creatures, maybe if you treat them well, because their greatness is there, in the divine greatness is there, even in a dog or a tiger or a lamb, it doesn't matter what. But in man, everything is there. All possibilities of growth and complexity is there, and therefore it's far more difficult, but also far more splendid when he has arrived at it. You master all your abilities and become an expression of the divine. So he has given us a chance that gods don't do this. The gods are, all of them, perfect embodiments. Each god is an embodiment of one particular, you might say, principle in the universal play. You have a god of light, a god of love, a god of truth, a god of beauty, a god of joy, a god of peace, and so on. The god of peace does not become a god of strength. He can't. He has to change his nature then. He has to become somebody else. Man can hold all these faculties in him. It's far more integral. This is the integral yoga. Integrate all the parts of the being. And that is why it is as he says in Mother's beautiful essay, the supreme discovery, the weakest creature, this man, he is also the greatest. I'm not quoting, it's very beautiful. It's a very beautiful essay. Have you read it? La Découverte Suprême? It's very beautiful. She wrote it before coming here. It was so beautiful, Sri Aurobindo translated it into English. So, but conquering her, then is he most her slave. He is her dependent, because without the energy, evolution cannot take place, evolution of consciousness. Evolution is always associated with consciousness, and therefore he is there, he has to be there. It's not growth of the body, it's not a bodily muscles that you are growing. your mental muscles that you are developing. It is a conscious, you might say, awareness that is growing in our nature. Nothing without her, but he is her dependent. All his means are hers. Nothing without her he can. She rules him still. At last he wakes to a memory of self. All this while he has kept his essential, you might say, supremacy in the background. He has allowed her to take over, to guide, to use this consciousness. Slowly man becomes an embodiment of consciousness. Towards the end of his evolutionary journey, all nature becomes a field of consciousness. At last he wakes to a memory of self. You see, we have lost contact. Memory. Memory means that was there, it is there, but we have lost contact. That is unconsciousness, oblivion. We fall into inconscience. When we have to keep that connection, to stay connected with our origin, with ourself. He sees within the face of deity. You look inside yourself and he is there. You have to look inside, but for that you have to feel the need. You are not on the outside, you are inside. And as Mother has told you, for us it is so simple. She says, go deep within, and you'll find that I'm already there. The presence is there, always, it never leaves us. But we look without, we look outside. Our gaze is turned outwards. We don't turn our gaze inwards. The deeper we look, the further you go within, you find that infinitely profound, strong, firm, steady presence is there. It never leaves us, always. This is the refuge. This is the mantra she gave, isn't it? In one line, in one word, she said, Mother Sri Aurobindo is my refuge. She joined the two names together, and it's a singular verb, it is. It's one being, consciousness and force, he and she. The Godhead breaks out through the human mold, her highest heights she unmasks and is his mate. When she unmasks her highest heights, instead of being the energy of the lower nature, the mechanical energy that you may find in matter, you find that it is the same energy that is the Mahashakti. So it starts in the mud and ends in the sky. Then, till then, he is a plaything in her game, her seeming regent, yet her fancy's toy. Till then, he allows her to play because she likes to play. This is a universal manifestation. The one becomes the many. She is the one who makes the many. He is the one. And she creates the many. So there's so much diversity. And you think all this is different from the one. They're all part of the one. It takes a long time for us to realize. So she creates all kinds of forms, shapes, beings, not outward forms only, inner kinds of nature. There are all kinds of human beings. You find different kinds, which you say good, bad and ugly. Not necessarily. There's also beautiful, noble, grand. All kinds of creatures, small and big, they are expressions of her caprice, as if she's trying out. She's trying out something. How can the external manifestation become an expression of the divine? That is fundamentally our yoga here. Basically, that is the notion of Sri Aurobindo's yoga. The outward action has not been suppressed. Only you do not act or live for and by the ego or for your personal satisfaction. Make use of the energy of body, life, mind as an instrument for manifesting the divine. It's so many guidances Sri Aurobindo has given. Always behave as if the mother were looking at you. Why? Because otherwise we behave like very badly brought up brats, you might say. So, but if you feel that she is there to look at you, then you will stop from making certain stupid mistakes. It's starting with that, starting with this external notion of freedom, which is to do whatever you want. Freedom is not to do whatever you want. Freedom is not to want, not to have desires anymore, to let that work through you. Desire is bondage. Slowly it is the outer nature has to become an occasion for manifesting him. Till then, he is a plaything in her game, her seeming regent, yet her fancy's toy. Very often, actually, a regent is powerless. Regents are just a figurehead. So the soul is a figurehead. It's there, you say, yes, there's a soul. His soul has left his body. But nobody really has much connection or nothing to do with the soul. He says, okay, life is all that counts. It is her soul is a plaything used by her, because without the soul you don't have an identity or an entity. But for us the truth of life is when it is alive in the body and you have a mind and you have energy and you have action and you have a vital nature, and you say, yes, this is a living being who's attempting this and attempting that, and failing maybe, conquering weaknesses, and the soul remains forgotten. Most of us forget that there is a soul, because it's nature that seems to have taken over. A living robot moved by her energy springs. He acts as in the movements of a dream. He doesn't seem to have a substance. He doesn't seem to have an actual reality. He stumbles on, driven by her whip of force. And yet, in life after life, what is there is the soul. By her whip of force, evolution is her force. We feel that the development and growth of energy and powers, all our faculties grow one slowly, a little at a time. So as we evolve, hidden faculties come out into the open, possibilities come, capacities come. In the mind there are so many possibilities, slowly they emerge. In the life there are so many capacities, gradually it's an opportunity to make use of them for many different purposes. So it is as if she is unveiling all her play, giving the human being, this is all for the human being, a chance to really manifest what? Consciousness. Actually it is consciousness. His thought labors, a bullock in time's fields. His will he thinks his own is shaped in her forge. It is she who is shaping, and the forge is where you have to pass through fire. You have to shape the metal. The inertia has to be molded and broken down so that it can acquire gradually the ability to manifest consciousness. Otherwise, for us, there are two different parts. There is the outer nature and there is the soul. One has nothing much to do with the other. We think, though nature cannot exist without the soul, but the soul stays in the background. But slowly, if we find that there is a soul in everything, even in us, there's a soul in your hand, a spirit in your eyes. There are those in whom the eyes are very conscious. There are those, you see a musician and see his hands play, you find this not his hands are not playing, his soul is playing through his hands. It's everywhere, it cannot exist. There are those who know how to run. You see, the soul or the spirit is running in the body. Gradually we realize that the whole universe is actually an expression of him. Obedient to world nature's dumb control, driven by his own formidable power. She is his power, but for a long time she drives him. We are driven by this nature. There are different gunas, we say in India. Those who are more, you might say, energetic, they often don't have a control over themselves, but they have energy. Those who have too much control but have less energy, the sattvic, they withdraw as much as possible. That too is not part of the game. And those who return to the state of constant repose, which takes the shape of dullness, inertia. His chosen partner in a Titan game, her will he has made the master of his fate. Slowly, when will this soul take over? When soul and body combine, become expressions. The body becomes an expression of the spirit. Nature becomes an expression of the spirit. Consciousness is present in all things. This is the plan, this is the game, which otherwise seems whimsical. Her will he has made the master of his fate, her whim the dispenser of his pleasure and pain. Otherwise, life is not a continuous progression of more and more consciousness. There are moments when there is less consciousness. We fall back, we grow, you say, yes, this year I have progressed a lot. I've become more aware. I try to stay more in touch with the Divine Mother. And then I suddenly find out it's absolutely all gone. She seems to have left me, or I have left her. And I'm living only for myself, for my satisfactions, for my demands, for my pleasures. That is when we need to have another blow to wake up from this sense of oblivion. Sri Aurobindo will again and again insist on the role of memory. It's just a word. Memory is really that which connects, which links ourselves with our true self. That link is not always there. This is perhaps one reason why in the ancient days everything was learnt by memory, so that you contain the knowledge inside you. Not like now, the knowledge is in a text. We read, we close the book, we may forget. But when you have imbibed it, it is inside the cells of your brain, of your life, of your heart, of your body, what you have absorbed. The sound value, the vibrations, they do that work within. That is why the rishis made us learn by heart. The vibration of the sound entered into the very nature of the being, of the body also. So that connection was much more durable. Whereas now the connection is not, you have to make a special effort not to lose that contact.
And that vertical spiral, that helps when you brought, the first time I heard you say it, which was a long time ago, that helped me always understand this spiral and this spiral.
That spiral.
And that, and the place just where
it is this spiral,
sometimes
yes.
it's dry, and you got to surrender to that too, but not be tamas, you know?
Yes.
Yeah.
Her will he has made the master of his fate. Her whim because he calls it whim, or we also call it whim, because we don't understand the significance of many things. So when we can't understand, we are at a loss. We call something meaningless, useless, whimsical. Why is this happening? We fail to understand. Everything is judged via our understanding. But our understanding is small, so the judgment remains small. The dispenser of his pleasure and pain. He has sold himself into her regal power for any blow or boon that she may choose. She gives us blows also. Not only, though, boons too, blessings. There are wonderful, beautiful moments that she gives to man. Life is beautiful, and it comes in many different unexpected moments. You suddenly watch the sun rise from behind the clouds in the early morning, and it's a miracle. It's revelation, and you can relate to the divine. Even in what is suffering to our sense, he feels the sweetness of her mastering touch. In all experience meets her blissful hands. On his heart he bears the happiness of her tread. He allows. So you get here there is a slight, you might say, reference to the supreme consciousness lying inert. And she is dancing on his breast. And he is happy. The image is that Shiva is always smiling. Even when Shiva is destroying it, he smiles. So he is bearing the, you might say, the dance of Kali on his breast. Only he can bear that dance. So he takes it on himself. So you get the symbolism of that image of the divine absorbing the play of this universal nature in all her aspects. On his heart he bears the happiness of her tread and the surprise of her arrival's joy in each event and every moment's chance. All she can do is marvelous in his sight. He revels in her, a swimmer in her sea, a timeless amateur of her world delight. Amateur in its original meaning is lover. You do something out of love for it, amour. Amateur, you do out of love, not for... Later it was altered, you do something for
Just
money. When you do something for money, you become a professional. You're a professional tennis player because you earn money. In the early years, you did not play for money, you play for the game. So you're an amateur player. Now it is used as somebody who doesn't do it well, who doesn't know how to do something. But actually the root is love.
That's Wall Street, turning the name so that you go for the money, which they'll help you place in the stock market.
A tireless amateur of her world delight. You love her play. Her delight is very difficult for us to always accept as delight. But he says, whatever she does is wonderful. Whatever mother... And you find so many letters in Sri Aurobindo's answers. Whatever mother does is wonderful. He never contradicted her. He never said anything different. Why is she doing this? Why is it happening there? If she has decided, if mother has decided, let it be so. You don't step forward. She has her reasons. Obviously, she is in charge of the whole evolutionary process. And he never stepped forward and tried to guide or tell her how to be, how to do. He rejoices in her every thought and act and gives consent to all that she can wish. Whatever she desires, he wills to be. The Spirit, the innumerable one, this is the Spirit, the one who is the many. In essence, she creates the many. Out of the one, she has created this universe which is so multiple. The Spirit, the innumerable one, he has left behind his lone eternity. Because before the creation, he was the Supreme Brahman.
all alone.
No form, no space, no creation. He has come down and is manifesting himself through her. He is an endless birth in endless time. This is the Spirit. Her finite multitude in an infinite space. This is what she is. Because the finite is she.
The myriads who are one.
The next time, the passage that is on the following page is one of the most marvelous pages.